Hey there, this is Kamal, and in this video we're going to see how we can buy and set up a shared web hosting service and also link a domain to it, and at the end we'll see how we can deploy a project onto it as well. So let's get this started. So the platform that I'm going to be using for this video is called as Hostinger, and the reason why that I'm using this platform is because I find the prices in this platform pretty reasonable, and also the interface which is provided by this platform for the backend is pretty neat, and I like that interface a lot. So that's the main reason for me for using this. And mainly if you're from India, then I think you will find the prices to be pretty reasonable as well. Okay, so now let's see how we can actually buy and set up a hosting service. If you don't have an account on this platform as of yet, then please do use the sign up link and create an account. But since I already have an account, I'm just going to log into mine. And once you're logged in, click on the hosting service here and go to shared web hosting. They offer other hosting services as well, like cloud hosting, email hosting, or WordPress hosting. So this is mainly optimized for WordPress. So if you plan on using WordPress for your website, then you can go with this. Or if you have an email client that you want to set up, then you can use the email hosting as well. Or if you have a large scale project and which requires a lot of computational power, then you can go with cloud hosting as well. But for this video, we're going to go with the shared web hosting service. So here, these are the plans currently available here. So we have the single web hosting around $59 per month, and premium web hosting around $119 per month, and also the business web hosting. So these are the full features, and these are the main differences between these three plans. I think I'll go with the premium version. That is because this premium version gives me access to GitHub integration and also gives me the SSH access. Even though the basic version has the GitHub integration, we don't have the SSH access. So for that, you have to go with the premium version, okay? And also the main drawback here is that you only get 2 databases and 2 subdomains with 1 FTP account. So if you want to set up multiple subdomains, then you might have to go with the second version or the third version as well. So let's go with the second version. I'm going to click on add to cart, and let's go with the 12 months plan and need it for 1 year. That's it. And also one of the main benefits of selecting the 1 year plan is that you're directly eligible for a free domain. So you can just type in the domain name that you want, and also you can select the domain extension that you want, whether you want it to be packetcode.com or packetcode.online or packetcode.xyz. So you can select any of these, and I think I'm going to go with packetcode.tech. So you can select that, then click on search, and that's going to check whether the domain is currently available or not. If it is available, then it's going to automatically add that to this as well. Once you're done with that, you can click on checkout now. Then you have to select the payment method, and once you're done with that, you can enter the details and click on purchase. So once you're done with purchasing, what you have to do is that you have to go to Hostinger once again and log into your account. So once you're done with logging in, it's going to redirect you to the dashboard. So as you can see here, we have 3 main things that we need to take care of right now. So fun fact for you, packetcode is currently being hosted in Hostinger, and I know that it's not live as of yet. Due to some reasons, the deployment got delayed a bit, but in a few weeks it will be ready and it will be live. So I've been using this hosting platform for a year now, and packetcode domain is being hosted here, and there hasn't been any issues for me as of yet. So I think it's pretty trustworthy, so you can go on with it if you want to use it for your own domains as well. So the first thing is that you have to set up your hosting. So click on setup, then click on start now. Then it's going to ask for the domain that you want to use, and packetcode.tech is selected by default, so you can leave it as it is and click on select. Then it's going to ask for your basic information. You can fill it up. Let me do that quickly. And once you're done with that, you can click on finish domain registration. Then it's going to ask whether you want to create a new website or you want to migrate a pre-existing website. So if you click on build a new website, it's going to show you some options. So it's going to show you some of the popular CMS platforms like WordPress or Zyro or WooCommerce along with WordPress. You can select any of these if you want, or you can start from scratch as well. So let's do that for now. I'm going to click on skip and I'll start from scratch. Then if you want, you can change the location of where the server is located, and currently mine is located in Europe. So I'll leave it as it is and click on finish setup. Okay, so the setup is done. So right now you can go and view your website, or you can go to the control panel as well. So let's do that quickly. So as you can see right now, the domain has some dummy data. So there's something that is given by default from Hostinger. So we have to delete these particular files and upload our own files here. So now let's go to the control panel. So this is the control panel, and these are all the things that you can actually do here. But before actually trying out any of these, let's first go to the dashboard once again. And as you can see here, we have yet to set up the SSL certification. So let's click on setup, then click on activate. So right now our domain has been set up and also the SSL certification has been done. So now let's go to the control panel once again, click on manage. Okay, so before going further, let's say you actually have the domain and hosting taken from different providers and you have to link both of them. So the way that you actually do that is you have to go to the hosting provider first. So right now hosting is my current provider, so I'll go there, and every hosting has a particular type of control panel to it. GoDaddy has one called as cPanel, HostGator has one as well, whereas Hostinger has a panel called as hPanel. That's what we are in right now. This is the control panel. So inside the control panel, we have something called as a DNS zone editor in this. And in other platforms, you have something which might have a different name, but essentially it's going to have some details regarding your CNAME, a host, MX mail exchanger, and also it's going to have the name servers. So these are some of the settings that it's going to have. So you have to search for that. Once you have these settings, what you can do is that you can just copy these two particular name servers. Okay, so these are the name servers which are going to be useful right now. So you have to copy both of these, and once you have copied them, you have to go to your domain provider. And since mine is Hostinger as well, I'll just go to my dashboard once again, and in here I'll click on manage, and I'll go to the domain management right now. And in here you have the option to update your name servers. So you can just paste the name servers that you had just copied before and place them here and click on update. So some platforms have them under domain management, some have them under DNS zone. So they have different naming sense. Essentially they are the same thing, they have the same settings. So you can go there, search for name servers or DNS configuration or something like that. There you will have the option for changing your name servers. And if you're actually trying to change the name servers for the first time, then it might actually show you that the name servers that it's currently using are default. So you can just click on custom, then it's going to give you access to add your own custom name servers. And in the first two name servers, you can just copy and paste those name servers as well. Okay. Once you are done with adding those, you can just click on save or update, and that's going to be added to that record. But one main thing is that any change related to name servers or DNS, it's going to take up around 24 to 48 hours, or it might take up to 72 hours as well in some cases. So you have to wait for a day or two for it to get updated. And once that is done, then you can access your website from the domain that you just bought. Okay, so that's how you connect the domain with the hosting. So you just have to take the name servers from the hosting servers and add those name servers in the domain provider settings. Okay, so now let's go back to the control panel once again. So here we have some basic settings regarding your order or regarding your account. Then you have some settings related to your email accounts. So you can set up a new email account if you want. So you can add your new email here. And if you want, you can set up an email hosting plan as well from here. Okay, if you want, you can do that. You can do any of these. Then as for the domains, you can add some domains from here as well. Like let's say you want to add a particular type. So you can add something like projects.packetcode.tech, and where you can add all your projects or something like that. Apart from that, you can also add the Cloudflare. So you can buy and set up the Cloudflare from here, and that's going to make your website more secure. So if you want, you can do that. Okay, so now the main setting in any of these hosting services is that they provide you an option to install third-party softwares. So let's say you want to set up WordPress or Joomla or PrestaShop or OpenCard or any of these. So you have to go to their version of store where you have the option to install any of the softwares. So in Hostinger, we have it named as auto installer. So from here, you can install any of the softwares. And as you can see here, WordPress, PHPBB and PrestaShop are there here. So you can install any of these. And one more thing is that Hostinger also supports Laravel. So if you want, you can add a Laravel based project as well. It also supports CodeIgniter. So if you want, you can add any of the PHP based frameworks, and you can use any of these available here. Apart from that, you also have access to your file manager. So if you go to files and click on file manager, that's going to open your file manager for your particular account. So this is my directory, and in here public_html is the place where I'll deploy my files. And as you can see here, it's currently empty. That's because I've deleted all the default files from here. So if you have any files, you can just delete it off. Then if you want, you can transfer the files to this directory using any of the available FTP clients like SmartFTP or FileZilla. So this is the IP address, hostname, username, and password that you need to use to connect to this hosting service, and you can deploy your files. And the password for this is your account password. So whenever you create a Hostinger account, you have to give a password, right? So that password is what you're going to use for your FTP connection as well. Or if you want, you can add a new username and password here, and you can click on create, and then you can use that to access the FTP client as well. Apart from that, you can create and add databases as well. So you can manage all of your databases and records from PHPMyAdmin. But before doing that, let's first actually create a database. So I'm going to click on MySQL databases, and I'll create a database here. Give a username, set up a password, then click on create. Once that is done, click on this arrow, and here you can click on PHPMyAdmin, and that's going to open your PHPMyAdmin. So this is the database that we had just created. And in here, you can import any of the SQL files that you already have, which were created in local PHPMyAdmin, or you can directly create new tables from here as well. And you have access to raw SQL, so you can execute that as well. So now, let's say you want to actually deploy the files, but you don't want to use the FileZilla client. What you can do is that you can use Git to transfer the files as well. So the main benefit of using Git is that it's pretty easy to transfer the files, and also you can keep track of all the changes. So the way that you actually use GitHub is that you have to first generate an SSH key. So click on generate SSH key, and that's going to create a new public key for you. Then you can just copy this, click on copy. Then what you have to do is that you have to go to GitHub, click on your profile and go to settings. Here, go to SSH and GPG keys. And now you have to click on new SSH key. Then give a title, whatever you want. So let's say hosting, then add in whatever you just copied and click on add SSH key. And that's going to be added. Now you have to go to your repository, then click on code, and it's going to give you access to your HTTPS URL, or if you want, you can use the SSH URL as well. So I'll just copy the HTTPS URL, then go back to Hostinger, and in the repository section, add the URL. And here, as you can see, they have given an example. So if you're using a public repository, you have to give the HTTPS URL. And if you're using a private repository, you have to use the SSH remote key. So you can just copy that from here, use the SSH, you can copy that and paste it here. And as for the branch, it's going to be master. That's what we are currently working on. And as for the directory, you can leave it empty as it is. And that's going to install all the files inside public_html. Or you can give a directory name here, and it's going to install all the files into that particular directory. So one thing that you have to make sure is that when you're trying to actually use Git to install all the files, you have to make sure that your public_html is currently empty. If you have even a single file, then the Git integration is going to fail. So you have to delete any of the files that you have currently here. And once you're done with that, you can click on create. And once that has completed, you can just go to your file manager once again and refresh the page, go to public_html. And as you can see here, all the files have been added. So now if I go to my domain, so as you can see here, my website is currently live. So everything is working. So this is how you actually transfer files from GitHub to your hosting servers. And if you scroll even further in this section, as you can see here, you have option to deploy it once again. Then you have the option to view the latest build output, delete it. Also, you have the option for auto deployment. So if you click on auto deployment, it's going to show you the webhook that you have to use. By using this webhook URL, you can make it so that whenever you make any changes in your GitHub repository, automatically those changes will be added to the website as well. So the way that you actually use this webhook URL is that you have to just copy this URL, then go to the repository, and this is the repository that we had used, right? So in the settings page of this repository, you have an option to add webhooks. So click on webhook, and in here you can click on add webhook. Here you have to add the URL that you just copied. So this is a payload URL. Okay, so just add this, and once you're done adding it, you can click on add webhook. So now that it's live, whenever you make any changes in this code project, automatically those changes will be mimicked here as well. Okay, so the last thing that we're going to see is how we can actually access this from the SSH. Yeah, so before going further, you also have access to cron jobs. So if you want to create any activity that has to be performed, or if you want to execute a particular file at a particular interval of time, all of that can be achieved using cron jobs. Okay, and you also have access to your PHP info, so you can change your PHP info and PHP configuration. So you can just tinker with these settings and find out what these are. So the last main thing is the SSH access. By default, SSH access is disabled, so you have to first enable this. Okay, so once it's enabled, there are two ways of actually connecting to this. The first way is to use softwares like Putty or Penguinate, or the second way is to use directly the terminal to connect to this. So let's use the terminal for now. Let's open the terminal. And what you have to do is that you have to just copy this command that you have here, copy that, go to the terminal and paste it. Then click on enter, and it's going to ask for the password. And this password is same as the FTP password. And what is the FTP password? The FTP password is same as your account password. So whatever password that you have used to set up the account, that is the same password that you have to enter here. And once you're done with that, you're going to have access to your bash terminal. So in here, you have access to all the directories present inside your server. This public_html is the place where our website files are currently present. So if you go to public_html and list out the files, as you can see here, these are the files that we had included using the Git integration. So that's how we actually use the SSH to connect to your online server. So that's how you buy and set up the domain and hosting service, and also deploy a project using Git or any of the FTP clients, or using the SSH directly. So that's it for this video, guys. I hope you like what I've seen till now. If you did, then please hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next video.